Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for taking time out of your day to check the videos out. I really do appreciate it. In today's video, we're talking about a game that I know many of you are not just a little bit excited for, but extremely excited for, that being God of War Ragnarok. This is a title I am also extremely excited for, and it's one of my most anticipated games coming next year. At least that's what we all believe. We are under the assumption that God of War Ragnarok will be a 2022 title, but the big question that everybody has is, when exactly is God of War Ragnarok going to release? Can we expect it in the first half of 2022? I've seen some people saying that they're expecting it in maybe April or May, maybe even June. But I've seen other people say that they wouldn't be surprised if it ends up getting delayed into 2023. Well, I do have some good news for you in this video. We have what seems to be a release date. However, we don't know if this is the exact release date or if it's just a placeholder, and I've seen quite a few people discussing this, so I thought that I would cover it, let you know what's going on, and give my thoughts on it. So before we do that, be sure to hit the like button to help the video out and show your support, and if you are new here to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. So this information comes from PlayStation Game Size over on Twitter, where they say, according to PlayStation's database, God of War Ragnarok is coming September 30th, 2022. They then go on to say maybe it's just a placeholder, and I'm glad that they said that because it's very likely that the September 30th, 2022 date here is a placeholder. However, it is worth noting that September 30th, 2022 does fall on a Friday, which is a pretty common day of the week to see big AAA titles release, so there is certainly a possibility here that we are looking at the official release date of God of War Ragnarok. But since we are so far away from this, I think it's more likely it's a placeholder. And the big reason I think this is because September 30th is the final day of Q3. So Q3 2022 starts on July 1st and ends on September 30th. Now, if you go back to what PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan said earlier this year, he said during an interview that was conducted in July of 2021 that when it comes to God of War Ragnarok's release date, they're aiming to get it out within the next year or so. That's what Jim Ryan said. And so you think about that, what it tells you is that at the soonest, at the absolute soonest, we could get God of War Ragnarok in July of 2022, because that would be a year from the time Jim Ryan said that. But when he says a year or so, that's also implying that it might take a little bit longer than a year. So when you look at August and when you look at September, those 2 months would fall perfectly within that year or so time frame. Now, I do want to make it clear that this is not official from Sony. Sony did not come out here and say, hey guys, God of War Ragnarok is going to be releasing on September 30th, 2022. But Jim Ryan did say this in July. So when you put these two things together, because this information is coming from the PlayStation database, so there is something to it here, it seems extremely likely to me that God of War Ragnarok will be releasing in either July, August, or September of 2022. There is always the possibility, just like we saw with Horizon Forbidden West, that they might not be able to hit that time frame. Obviously, we know they're working incredibly hard to do so. We know that they want to be able to hit that release window, but we could always see it delayed. Now, some God of War Ragnarok fans are fearful that the game may end up being delayed into 2023. Now, I want to make it clear that anything is possible, and I don't know what Sony's plans are, but I do believe that it's unlikely God of War Ragnarok will end up being a 2023 game. If it were to slip into 2023, then it would obviously be an early 2023 game. But the only way I could see that happening is if, for one reason or another, Santa Monica Studio just wasn't able to get this game finished by the time Q3 is coming to an end. By that point, you're moving into Q4, which is the holiday 2022 season, and traditionally, Sony doesn't usually release their big first-party PlayStation Studio titles during the holiday season. They do on occasion, and maybe for a title like God of War, they would make an exception. I mean, there's no doubt God of War is going to be a massive game that commands pretty much everybody's attention, and it will steal the spotlight and I don't think it necessarily has to worry about competing with other titles, but it just comes down to whatever Sony feels comfortable with doing. So I think at the least we could end up seeing God of War as a holiday 2022 title before we end up seeing it slip into 2023. That's my assumption. But what we can take from this is that we will not be seeing God of War Ragnarok released within the first 6 months of 2022. I could end up being wrong about this, but this is again coming from the PlayStation database, and we do have Jim Ryan himself and what he said about it releasing in a year or so. It pretty much confirms that, yeah, Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo 7 are the two big first-party PlayStation Studio titles that we'll be getting in the first half of next year. But some people, I think, are feeling a little bit disappointed that a game like God of War Ragnarok may end up releasing so late in 2022. We do have to, again, understand that it might not be in September. It could be in July, it could be in August. It's still a ways away, but the good news is we have plenty of other titles to hold us over until then. And honestly, I'm just thrilled at the idea of getting both Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok within the same year of one another. These are two juggernaut titles that any other time I would have expected them to kind of have their own year to themselves, but we have seen Sony do this before. I think back to 2018 when we got God of War in the first half of 2018, and then the second half of the year closed with Spider-Man, and that was a pretty similar release schedule that we are presumably looking at here with Horizon and God of War. Back in 2018, God of War came out in April, and then I believe Spider-Man came out in September. We're seeing something very similar happen here, where we're seeing Horizon come out in February of 2022, and then we could end up seeing God of War come out either in July, August, or September of 2022. It seems like Sony has found a formula here for their big first-party titles, and I have a feeling that they're going to continue to try to follow this formula as best they can. Obviously, there will be exceptions that have to be made, but I do believe that's what Sony is shooting for here, and I think that's exactly what Jim Ryan was hinting at when he told us a year or so. So there you go. I can't wait for this title. I can't wait to get new information on it. I wasn't expecting to be talking about the release date for God of War Ragnarok at this point in time, but here we are. So that's the latest I have for you when it comes to God of War Ragnarok and a potential release date for it. At this point, I'm going to be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure to leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, if you did enjoy the video or if you did find it informative, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.